Meeting for Wednesday, November 29th, 2023. This meeting is being broadcast live by Westford Cable Access TV and is being recorded for playback online. I ask members of the audience to mute their phones while they're in the room so we don't have distractions to the conversation. The first item on the agenda is open forum. Do members of the commission have anything for open forum? Jim.
I'll just add that the meeting can be recorded by members of the public also.
Okay.
Don't know if it will be, but, right.
Okay. Matt, do you have anything?
Yes, just one. The commission this week received a notification from the town manager's office regarding a public hearing to receive feedback and comments from residents as the select board evaluates the impact to Westford opting into MGL Chapter 90, Section 17C on Griffin Road and Boston Road, which would reduce the speed limit to 75 miles per hour in thickly settled or business districts.
How many miles?
25?
25.
Didn't they? Okay, did he
So
say
they want us to go from 35 to
Across
25
I
on
thought he
Boston
said-
Road?
I thought he said
We were
75.
notified as an abutter. That's the,
Okay.
if, and it will be at the select board's the next meeting on the 12th. So,
I wish people would.
if anybody is interested, I can provide comments, or people can certainly attend as individuals. That's all I have.
Okay, do members of the audience have anything for open forum?
I'm sorry, where is that meeting going to be?
Probably here and on Zoom.
Right, I know, it said electronic, but I didn't know if it said an actual place.
We'll there is a webinar link that I
Oh, yeah,
can
okay.
send, but I don't.
Okay.
I
The problem is the people behind you who are not happy that you're doing 25 and don't know will care about the signs that are up there all over town that say 25.
So- Okay,
'Cause they hug my tail.
They don't even do it at 30, which is,
okay. Okay.
sorry, thank you.
Okay. So, members of the audience, anything for open forum?
So you'll give her an opportunity, she doesn't
Yeah, if you
know
want to just
what you're
identify
asking.
yourself and.
Could you introduce yourself?
Speak with the commission.
Come-
At the
come-
microphone.
Yeah.
Okay,
Just come closer so we can hear you. Come and sit in the seat and be comfortable.
My name is Fala Noel.
would you like to sit down?
Oh.
Okay.
My name is Fala Noel. I'm one of the farmers at the community garden.
Okay.
And you're looking to continue we've finished the first 5 years of the initial lease agreement for the,
Fast.
and, you know, as the commission voted at the last meeting to extend the time frame to, you know, negotiate, discuss extending the lease agreement beyond the initial term for the, you know, potential next 5 years. Fella has expressed interest in continuing farming that 4.5 acres, I think, kind of to the right and rear as viewing from the parking lot. And I have received a letter from her expressing interest, describing some of the fruits and vegetables which are grown, and additionally, he received numerous certificates
Yes.
for recommendation from, I don't remember what group.
I'm from from mayor in Lowell and for representative in Lowell.
Okay, I remember the city of Lowell and, Representative Trahan for, you know, her work in, agriculture, supporting, being a part of the agricultural community in Middlesex County. And so.
I have in the car. You want to car? You want to see it?
I have photos and I can provide
Yeah.
them at the next.
She needs an
commission's-
agreement from us, is that what it is?
Jim?
Is there anything about your current agreement with us, anything about your current contract that you want to change? Or is it okay the way it is except for the dates?
The way it is fine.
Just the dates?
Just I don't know if I have greenhouse inside there before. Like I want to build a 2 greenhouse.
The loop houses,
The do have, yes.
the loop houses, I think you, and I'll certainly,
Since,
There aren't any, she wants to put some on.
yeah, and they are available, and I think you have the materials
Yeah,
for
right
them.
there, yes, yes.
And they've just never been constructed. So I'll take a look to make sure that that's consistent with,
Okay.
you know, I mean, I'm sure it was, I mean, if they've been on site for 4 years. So I'm sure there was approval at one, you know, I can certainly look back to make sure that it is consistent with either lease agreement or some, you know, agreement with the commission.
So we need to make sure that the language in the agreement covers the activities that you want to do.
Do they need electricity?
I do sometime, but no electric. they're
No,
not.
in the hoop houses,
No.
the hoop houses typically have
Yes,
two
yeah,
skins.
Yeah, no, don't.
Between them, they have
yes.
fans that blow
No,
air.
no, I don't need it.
You don't need electricity? Because that requires whatever trenching and all that stuff.
so she needs
That-
approval from us?
This one just no fan, no electric. Just we open the shade on the side
Okay.
and the back door and front door. That's it.
So low tech.
Yes.
So I can certainly, if I can have, review this for the commission's next meeting and, you know, make sure that the amended lease agreement, you know, for the commission's review, for Follow's review as well, and we can kind of keep things progressing towards, you know, if there aren't any, if there's no opposition from the commission or no other concerns that want to be, you know, discussed and kind of addressed, we can have something to that effect for the commission's next meeting and can, you know.
But there was something about stuff stuck in the trees,
What, black plastic?
like plastic.
Biodegradable.
Is that all down now?
That last year. Because I do the expensive plastic, so we don't have to pull it out.
Okay.
So after they plow, so it's just like it's not recommended. It's not a good plastic to put it in. So now I put the one that we can pull it out.
Okay.
So that one like migrate to the soil, but it does like not enough time to migrate. So,
Got it,
but yeah,
okay.
but we brought it down.
So it's supposed to be biodegradable, but it doesn't, so you're using a heavier plastic
Now,
that
yeah,
you
now,
can
yeah,
re-
yeah,
that you
this
can
year.
re- that you can
Yeah.
remove by hand?
Yes.
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
A lot of work, but we do this that way better.
Okay.
So,
You'll research and come up with an updated lease agreement that we can review, and you'll send it to Follow so she can review it as well.
yep, in advance of the next meeting, so,
Any changes, use a
Red
mark,
line,
track
yep.
changes on it
Yes.
so we can tell. Of
course.
It should just be the dates then.
you're right, dates and, you know, and just to make sure
The
that the
language.
loop language, you know, the
Yeah,
loop
and then
houses
we
are.
can, best case, we review it and approve it at our next meeting, and Follow can sign it as well, and then the new agreement's in place.
Yep.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice-
Thank you so much,
Very well.
everybody. Thank you. So I'm done.
You're done?
Yes,
yep.
you're done.
Have a good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for
Happy-
coming.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, so moving on to,
Happy holiday to everyone.
Thank
you too. Moving on to our 7:05 PM agenda item, it's continued public hearing
The
for,
other 7 o'clock.
No, you got the minor.
oh, I'm sorry, you're right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, yes. So it's a minor modification request for the Town of Westford Department of Public Works for the Blue Brook Culvert and the Pond Brook Culvert.
Included in the commission's meeting packet was a letter from the town engineer requesting a couple minor modifications to the approved plans for both DEP file numbers 3341818 and 334-189. At the Blue Brook Culvert at Groton Road, the plan changes include rerouting the gas line along the shoulder of the new culvert off the roadway. It is all work within the existing footprint area to be disturbed. And the other, at Pond Brook, the Pond Brook culvert, National Grid is requesting permission to use directional drilling to go underneath the existing brook and tie into the two areas. Included in the memo or letter was, erosion controls were previously included with the scope of work, and they feel sufficient for the road opening and the directional drilling to occur. If there's any questions, I can certainly try to answer them, or can take them down and relay to town engineering staff.
Any questions?
I don't have any.
Okay, in that case, can I have a motion to approve the minor modification requests for the Blue Brook Culvert, DEP file number 334-1818, and the Pond Brook Culvert, DEP file number 334-1819?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We have something to sign?
No, it's a minor
Okay.
modification. I'll
Okay.
notify them by email.
So now it's 7:05 PM agenda item. Continue the public hearing for 35 and 39 Town Farm Road.
I've had correspondence with the design engineer for this project. Relayed the comments from the commission's last public hearing, one being that in the stormwater management agreement, the incorrect municipality was listed. They will correct that. And the DEP stormwater handbook is the most current edition is February 2008. But their estimates and the cost for inspection and maintenance were based upon recent projects. In terms, that was it. Plan changes with which have been discussed most recently with the Zoning Board of Appeals included parking, which again is all outside of the commission's jurisdiction and not changing very much. Another point that of the plan which was revised was providing some pedestrian connectivity from the front of the property to North Main Street and crossing to connect to the existing, but again, that's also outside the commission's jurisdiction. And I have a couple potential conditions for a negative determination if the commission would like to hear them. If there are no other questions.
Okay.
They're all done with planning?
Zoning board, the planning department staff are drafting the comprehensive permit for the zoning board's meeting in, I think it's December 20th. So they're, at the final stage of,
So
So these are the final plans on which the planning decision will be based, so we don't have to worry about additional plan updates.
correct.
Okay? If there are no questions, can I have a motion to?
Could I just?
Oh, sure.
The two conditions, one, the final executed stormwater agreement shall be provided upon execution, and an as-built plan shall be provided prior to the issuance of the occupancy permit, just to make sure that the work that it was done in the buffer was consistent with what was proposed.
Okay. Can I have a motion to issue a conditional negative determination?
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
So moving on to our 7:10 PM agenda item, it's a continuation of a public hearing for Jack and Clara Farmstead LLC, 400 Littleton Road.
Good evening.
Good evening.
For the record, Brian Goodrow with Hancock Associates.
So following the last hearing, we have issued a revised plan. I believe probably the biggest item that was being questioned was the deck on the left-hand side. So the second story deck, kind of in the area of the transformers and HVAC equipment and maintenance boardwalk. What we've done is we've pulled that back from the resource area to the degree that we can to be able to maintain the second story egress door. So the deck was originally proposed at the same setback as the corner of the existing arcade tent.
Use the pointer and just,
Sure.
sure.
Good idea.
There we go. So we're talking about this area over here. This is the new line of the deck. This section of the deck contains the egress door to the second floor right here. And then there's a switchback staircase that gets you down from the second story to the first story, which is kind of a service entrance area for employees. So previously, we had the deck extending down here to mirror the 10.3 offset to the resource area, and we've pulled it back 5+ feet to get to where it's being shown right now. And that is kind of the extent of how much we could clip it, if you will, or shorten it up to be able to maintain that second story egress door. Now, looking at the plan, right here is the large HVAC equipment. So we're basically, when that HVAC equipment is removed and relocated to the opposite side of the building, underneath it will be open and naturalized, and then it will be a second story kind of deck above it with a handful of posts holding it up, essentially. And that was the major change to the plan.
So on that side of the second floor, there's going to be one egress out to the deck.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so what looks like little doorways farther up, that's on the lower level?
That is on the lower level, yes,
Okay.
correct. So this is the second story, you come up, then you go down the staircase, there'll be a doorway to the elevated kind of boardwalk area, if you will. This goes to the bumper boats, which is existing, and then there's a service kind of corridor for employees only.
So this is for emergency exiting?
Correct.
So when they do the emergency exit, they would get onto that boardwalk, where would that lead?
It's for it. All right, so maybe I misspoke. Not emergency access. It's secondary egress. It's intended for employees more than anything else, because this isn't where the public can access anything.
Okay.
This goes to the side of the bumper boats, which is staff only. This goes to kind of that service corridor to the building where the utilities are. Again, employees only.
Okay.
So it's not going to be kind of a public area, if you will.
So my question is, there was an existing order of conditions for the work prior to this that haven't been closed out. A lot of things were supposed to happen and weren't supposed to happen as part of that order of conditions. I'm wondering to what extent those were complied with. I thought at one point there was work proposed in the area of the mill building, which had been dropped from the proposed work to be done, and when we issued the previous order, work that had been proposed was dropped, and I don't know if that has been resurrected or part of that property being used as part of this application. And I'm wondering if the other conditions of the order of conditions in regards to features that were to be preserved, conservation restrictions and that, have those been put in place? I know I had mentioned this to you earlier, Matt, and I was just trying to get a better understanding.
So I'm pretty sure the conservation restriction has been enacted. 35.
You said it showed on a plan. And
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I wasn't able to review in time for the meeting. The two, the the conservation, included in the order of conditions was the draft conservation restriction language. And I'm quite certain that it was. I've seen it. It is, I mean, even on the plan provided from Hancock Associates, does show one of the,
CR lines.
yeah, limited CR conservation plan book, so I'm.
The deed,
Yeah, plan, I mean, it's a plan book, I mean, so it's the
the
plan. which-
registry.
Yeah, so it's not the, not the language for, not the restriction itself, but the, in their research, they found the conservation restriction, in a recorded plan. In terms of the other.
Work that was proposed that was, removed from the previous proposal, yeah.
Abandonment of proposed construction of a new storage building submitted with a notice of intent filing. So it's, where you had those bullets, Matt, it's the third one.
Sorry.
Yeah, if you go, the third bullet down, I think, Eric, is what you're referring to.
Yes.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, I'll have to,
Decided not to build a.
No,
Yeah.
not to do it.
right, and again, I may have to look back at the meeting minutes to see how we got to, Hancock was.
Well, I mean, there was, let's put it this way, for us, we had a positive determination. We had said the work that was previously done, there was an adverse impact, at least under our local wetlands bylaw. And certain things were to take place that helped us move forward to finally being able to issue an order. And I would want to make sure those orders of conditions were, complied with to the letter before we, I'm looking at this new plan and I'm trying to think, okay, what are they proposing that, was dropped from the old plan so we could actually issue an order? And are they coming back now to try to work in those areas which previously, weren't going to be, utilized? And that was a condition of the previous order of conditions. I don't want to lose sight of that.
We never envisioned the second piece.
What was that?
We never envisioned the second.
I don't believe that that was
in
ever
our-
going to be allowed, so I'm surprised to see this before us.
I don't know if it was ever mentioned, but I don't think.
Oh, it clearly was mentioned. In fact, that's the reason, it was a tent in the first place. The tent was sitting on that platform that was constructed,
Yeah.
but there was to be no permanent construction other than a tent on that.
I remember.
And you think that would be in minutes of the,
It is, but Matt doesn't seem to be able to locate the minutes.
Well, I haven't been able to locate the project file
Okay.
in the plan. I have gone back, the 2 years of meeting minutes from when this was originally, from June 2029 through 2011, when the order was issued. I have been able to review them. Just at that time, I didn't think to catalog them, and they're all available online.
Yeah,
So-
but nevertheless, this is in the no build and in no disturb zone. So, we're looking at now.
And I just really want to make sure that, we look at this in context of, what we approved previously and what the order of conditions, prescribed as things that were not supposed to happen. Anyone else?
I said what I
I
have,
remember being there.
I said what I had to say the last time. This is no build zone, no,
it's still close,
Well,
yeah.
no
The-
buffer zone. It's
The
10 feet
the
away.
argument was, it's like, we're gonna do more harm if we tear it out than if you just leave it there. And seeing what I'm seeing now, I'd be of the mindset to say, I'm not gonna accept that again as an argument, because this is what can happen.
Well, now you're talking about
Well,
two-story
no,
structure.
and it was never supposed to be. So, and the argument, oh, we've gotta put it here, we've done all this work, You know, it's gonna be a mess if we have to tear it apart, so let us put the tent on top of the platform that we built. But nothing further was to be constructed. The tent was supposed to be seasonal, removed in that area, not to be used until, you know, the tent went up again. And we're seeing years down the line that, you know, that we're a new plan, which, you know, is a two-story structure where once a tent was. And that certainly wasn't the intent when we issued the order of conditions we did previously.
In addition, part of the addition go into the no disturb area too.
So I just really think we need to take a good, hard look at the order of conditions that we previously issued. I want to make sure that they're being followed to the letter, and then we start from there, and not lose sight of those and looking at this in this public hearing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I was reading the conservation restriction, and talks specifically about taking trees down.
Right, I think in those specific, you know, the two areas, as described, you know, being the southerly side of the intermittent stream across from the tent structure, so kind of the opposite side of the wetland affecting the structure, and then also 35 acres along the Neshoba Brook, which are kind of from Littleton Road, looking at, it's near the,
Sullivan Tire?
no, the other side of, heading back towards Concord Road.
Well, it was on the 495 side or the farm
southerly
side?
side. The southerly side, heading towards Concord Loop.
East-
On the right-hand side,
Eastern
yeah.
side, I think, towards
Yeah,
Shop.
east, yeah.
So
east
just before
and
you get to the
Chelmsford.
Rookery?
Past that, there's a building there. There's-
Okay.
I think somewhere in that area was where the conservation,
Okay.
Is this part of the 35 acre?
yeah, that, the second conservation
What we're
restriction.
talking about is on the 35 acres, right?
No.
No.
No, this
Okay.
proposed
Yeah,
is
let me
not.
see if I can pull it up on GIS quickly. Just to. Hey, where is it? So the two conservation restrictions, so the first, so item number 4 of the bullet points is here, just south of the mini golf course, the existing tents there. That's the smaller one. The 35 acres is located in this area here, towards this address, which I can't, 364 Littleton Road. So that's so again, GIS has them shown, but that's based off of relevant recent plans. But they certainly do appear to be, but those are the two areas as identified in terms of conservation restrictions. So, you know, the removal of trees, this area wasn't included in the conservation restriction. You know, I think that was just included and recorded to show that it was
I see.
complied with at the time.
Those are my comments. So.
Okay.
So the existing footprint of the so-called prior tent is now being expanded with the decks on both ends. Both of them within the areas that we've had people move previously constructed sheds and things like that.
Away.
Away, yes, we made them move back out to 30 feet. And now we're looking at 15 and 22. We wouldn't have put the building that close if we were looking at it today either, if that was
No,
being
we
proposed.
We wouldn't have put the
Second-
building there at the
second- second
top.
floor is no worse than the first floor, but expanding the second floor to make the building bigger is worse.
Yes.
You can make it 10 stories for all I care, but the 30 feet is not, we don't have 30-foot buffer anyway.
But,
15 and 22,
but the work to build a building, it's 2 stories or 10 stories,
yeah.
is,
It could
has an
be-
impact on the
There's
land.
things they could do to minimize that.
They could,
But
yeah.
the distances, you'd have to have something in compensation. I don't really
And I don't see it.
I don't either, no.
It's just almost like taken for granted that they can build.
Right. And just because it was too close here and too close here, doesn't mean it can be too close here and here. And we wouldn't have done those.
Right.
So clarification for me, if the 2 decks, and I apologize, I wasn't here for this discussion.
Can you
the
talk
last
louder?
go around. Yes. Just
Just picks up for recording.
okay. So for my clarification, it sounds like the 2 decks are the most contentious, if you will, pieces, and it's because we're encroaching within the 30. Now I haven't spoken to Kimball's management about this, and next week's gonna be December. We're trying to have the arcade replaced for next season, essentially. If the decks were not a part of the RDA and they were permitted separately, say, where we could talk about mitigation or potential reconfiguring it, is this something that could be a determination made on so that the arcade has a chance to be constructed for when the season opens? Or are there other issues that need to be discussed as well?
So why can't they use the existing tent arcade that they have to continue having an arcade operation the way they have in the past?
So the way it was explained to me is that the tent isn't efficient in the way that it's laid out currently, and it is seasonal structure, so they're looking for, something
But it was
permanent, better.
intended to be a seasonal structure. By, its very nature, we did not want it to be permanent.
Understood. So the layout of the new structure kind of makes a more efficient use of the space and expands towards the front where the entrance is, which allows for the center, cashier area, if you will, to be separate from the gaming area itself.
I'm lost. I'm not
So
sure.
this is all within the rectangle of
It's
what's
all within-
currently the platform?
Correct.
So
All
it's not the
within the
parts that
existing
are,
platform.
It's not the proposed, so it's not, we're not talking about where it says proposed arcade first floor only? Is that part of,
That would be the expansion where the cashier area goes.
Okay.
So in the tent right now, it's like a circle. The center of it has the cashier area and the prize. That's being relocated to the front to allow for better queuing, and then the back portion of it will be strictly games. So it's just
arcade only? Okay, and the area where you're talking about the proposed arcade first floor only is outside of our 55
correct.
no build?
It is.
Okay.
So segmenting it to approve one and then come back for another is what he's
To continue the
just contemplating,
discussion.
or how would we look at that? We hate segmentation of projects.
Yes.
Yes.
And I guess they're talking about relaying out for a more efficient business operations. Is there also a driver for, if there are portions of the current platform, et cetera, that are in need of repair or replacement? Is that also a driver for why this work is being proposed now?
So I believe when we were on the site walk, Ed had mentioned replacing the entirety of the decking because it's rotting essentially.
Okay.
And what will be saved is strictly piers. So from piers up, they're rebuilding the foundation or structure.
So that platform has reached end of life, so to speak?
Correct.
The other thing that I'm hearing from my fellow commission members is that where this had been proposed and approved as a seasonal structure, creating a permanent structure that would in effect be there year-round, adding a second story for expanded activity in this area. Those are among the sticking points, as well as the additional decks within what we normally have as a no disturb zone. So I think it's the encroachment, further encroachment into the 30-foot buffer, as well as the permanence and expanded structure in the existing location.
When it was first
I
built,
hear what you're saying, and then, in addition to that, I thought like the abandonment of the improvements that they were going to be making, that bullet 3 point.
So, so the storage, and that's one of the things is we have to understand,
I don't understand it yet.
well, it's where was that,
Yeah,
where
where
was
was
that
that?
storage proposed? Because the new storage that I believe they're proposing adjacent to the Old Mill Museum,
Right.
that's also where that new storage is proposed, partially goes into the 55-foot no build.
We're talking about behind the old mill building, yeah. So that's in the area that is just outside of the foundation that's currently
Okay,
kinda-
so where that storage area is being proposed, there's currently no structure there.
There is no foundation there, correct?
Okay,
And I believe that was an area that was proposed for improvements, but based on the order of conditions, that work was removed.
so that's where we would,
The abandoned the phrasing, that's what that was
That's what I
referring to?
believe.
Oh,
so that would,
That's what I'm trying to get some clarification on, but I don't have the old plan to compare to this. Typically, we'd see somebody would come in with an existing house and they'd show us what they'd want to do.
Yeah.
And we would get to see, okay, you're doing 3 feet more over here and this or that. I don't have that, so I'm trying to visualize and say, this is what we agree to in the old order of conditions, this is what's being proposed. And I can't look at the two, but I can't overlay them.
okay, so you can't see what was removed from the
Right,
previously
and to what's
approved?
being proposed now.
Okay,
what was the original reason for
Was
doing this? There was a piece there. that-
Was it 2009, is that correct, when?
2011. I
that, the
believe.
filing was
Well-
2009.
Yeah, the enforcement order was 2009. The
That was much older. When I looked at the paperwork, it was fairly recent.
Well, there've been several filings.
Yeah, so the order was issued in 2011 after 2 years of deliberations by the commission. The plan. Where are you? Yeah, so the
Yeah, one
plan
second.
revision dates are, 2010, 2011 timeframe, so.
Yeah, because the date of notice of intent filed was June of 2009, from looking at the
And that was about,
Took two
that-
whole years, right?
I mean, I think it was filed 10 days, 2 weeks after the enforcement order was issued.
okay.
Yes, it
Kind
took
of.
2 years.
Yeah,
And it was something we clearly did not want to do. And something that should never happen again.
That's why I asked what the original
That's why we have
reason
this-
was, because
Yeah,
the
what was the
reasons
original
Change
changed.
the bylaws, right?
No, I mean, they came in and they did this without permission. I mean, they built this and Bill Turner went out and he found that they had constructed this. So it wasn't anything that we approved. It was something that we had to live with, and we were told that it would be more damaging to the resource area to remove it than to allow it.
If they're removing that entire platform because it's
Well,
rotten,
not
then
only,
they could
it's not the
potentially move
platform.
it back
I mean,
30
Bill
feet.
goes out there and they've got all these concrete pilings in and all of this work done. You're like, oh my God, this isn't just
They're 90,
happenstance. This isn't just happen.
I get that.
I mean, it was well thought out.
What I'm
And
saying is they're gonna have to put down a whole new flooring, because it's all
So they
rotten.
say,
But
so
then,
they
so if they're
say.
doing that and it's gonna be just that, just the pilings, why not have them move the whole thing back 30 feet?
Because there are 96 4-foot pilings under this.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean, this
it'll be
isn't a little thing.
Huge amount
This
of work,
is
yeah.
unbelievably constructed.
Yeah, we don't have to have them use those pilings for
And we
anything.
said at that
We can
time,
move the
you
whole thing
built
back,
all
right?
of this to support a temporary structure. So, you know, we had issues
Well,
from
they
the
can
very
use those
beginning.
pilings within the 30 that we don't want there for a temporary deck, or, you know, temporary.
I don't know, I
Well-
just,
There's no room, I think, for that.
I'm telling you why we had issues with it in the past and why I have issues with it now.
Yeah,
So what she's saying is, don't use the pilings that are near the wetlands.
up to 30
You're
feet.
taking off the platform anyway, create new pilings somewhere else. And
Yeah, but then you're,
And it's a whole new,
well, but then you're
New footprint.
making, you're making that area, you're basically, to do that, they have to look at reconfiguring
the whole, yeah. whole
the area, everything that they've already proposed in terms of the cashier area, the arcade area becomes
Well, not just that.
shallower.
The bathrooms and all that stuff.
That's
It would
okay.
be better
No,
for
the
the resource
the
area.
bathrooms are elsewhere,
Yeah.
No, she's talking about moving the whole thing away.
Yeah,
but they've got
I don't think that's
existing buildings
possible.
that they're not, that, yeah, and it just,
I mean, making it smaller is my point.
Or smaller.
Yeah,
The commission, whether we liked it or not, okayed the old footprint, right? That was done.
I think we had no choice,
And there were
yeah.
mitigation measures balanced against it, and it was okayed. So as far as the footprint, I don't know how much standing we really have in it, but as far as expanding, I don't
We
think.
never
And,
saw,
as
again,
far
never
as the
imagined this
it was
expansion.
to be
Right.
temporary in
Construction has to be
nature.
It was never brought up, that's what I said. to you.
Temporary versus permanent, and then anything closer than the 30-foot plus. Yeah. No, this is not a good project.
Well, you were on the commission at the time.
Yep, I
I
saw
saw
my name
that
on
too.
there.
I
Okay,
know.
so it-
Unless I didn't remember it.
okay. So in terms of ways to move forward,
You're gonna go back and look
I
first.
had verify compliance with the three items, the three mitigation items, or the 5 mitigation items, and, find minutes relating to the new storage building, in that 2-year time frame to see what the discussion was, why was that, left off. And again.
It was
the-
left off because we approved what we approved.
Right,
I mean,
right.
and the minutes should reflect that.
Right, there should be I'm sure there's something in the minutes regarding the discussion as to.
Oh, I'm sure.
This being removed for X reason.
And I always thought this was temporary, never permanent.
And then in terms of, to the commission's point of, if, there still is proposed activity within the 30-foot no disturb, the additional, the additional decks, if that's relocated, if that's removed, is that, what's the commission's direction regarding that?
It shouldn't be there. As Jim said, they're being proposed in an area that we wouldn't allow them to be built.
Right.
How about HVAC equipment that's currently there and being reconfigured?
It's there, and I thought you were gonna move that to the other end, so that
Right, so
would
there's-
put it outside the 30 feet too.
I'm
No.
not sure if that was
It's-
even there, was that there in the original order, or is it there and, so maybe that's something you can verify.
This is the relocation area that you're talking about?
Yeah, there's a generator that exists right now on that side.
Close to being outside the 30 feet.
No, it's further up, I think, actually, right?
Yeah, so the existing generator, there's an existing.
Right here.
Right, that,
Yep.
you're gonna move
Yeah.
that to over here, I thought.
Correct.
Oh,
And
right
there's-
there?
And there's an existing one up here. So there's two, there's one here, and there's one here currently. This one is being relocated to this side.
okay, so that's still,
That'd be fine to move those out of the 30 feet and put them farther away.
And there's another one that's outside, going outside the 100, right? That's the
That's the
electrical.
transformer,
The trans-
correct. So the transformer on this side here is being moved entirely outside of buffer within the parking lot.
Fantastic.
Not far enough. There you go.
Right, yeah, up in this area.
Matt, can you, is any more of the plan, because we can't,
To the right?
yes, thank you.
Sorry.
Move HVAC equipment and relocate east. So those, for clarification, that's the proposed location for the new places as opposed to,
That is the relocation place.
okay,
The plans, it
So
gets
the-
washed.
The wording might be a little bit awkward, but that is the proposed location,
Okay.
where they're being relocated to.
That's where one of the existing generators is.
okay. We can, oh, you can,
So Matt, maybe at the next meeting, you can have a copy, stand and compare what's being proposed as
Yep.
to what we previously accepted.
And the rationale.
Well, I got the rationale,
I
and
don't
everything. I
have it
just
here.
want to even make sure that everything ended up where it was supposed to.
I
well,
understand that.
if we can go back to the right a moment,
Rationale where they are
one of those
today.
generators looks like it's partially within the 30-foot. I see the way the current generator is oriented, so it's kind of more running, the longer is this way. Would it be possible to reorient one or both of those generators to get them out of that?
So they're situated the way that they are because of the posts of the decking
Okay.
above it. They're basically in it. If you look adjacent to the building, I believe that is the second story, and this is the
Yep.
first story door.
Oh,
So
so-
we couldn't rotate this one. We could potentially rotate
So,
this
so,
one.
so one of those doors is the second story and another one is on the first? Okay.
Correct.
That makes it awkward looking at plans when you've got two stories, we don't know what we're seeing where.
Yeah, I know, which is on
Right,
what,
I can-
yeah.
Are those generators?
Yes,
I believe
HVAC?
HVAC. One of them might be a generator. The other might be HVAC. There's no generator, so they're both
I don't think they're
HVAC.
generators.
so they're both HVAC.
Then you got a fuel source we gotta think about, right?
Yeah, so they're both HVAC.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I think, because,
I think before we go forward, we need to see what we agreed, all agreed to in the
And
past.
what the
Okay.
dialogue was.
And to tell you the truth, I would like to either see an overlay of the comparison between the two so we can more easily understand and put some context to what's currently being proposed.
okay.
And also what the dialogue was. 'Cause it's- I don't
Okay.
know.
Matt said he'd hunt down the minutes and, you know, if we get them, then we can review those and
Would
then
the,
you'll have that history and you'll see that dialogue.
I remember
would the
this.
plan of record be available from when the order of conditions was recorded at the Registry of Deeds?
It wouldn't have been.
The plan would not have been part of that?
I'm now
No.
adding the plan as the last sheet of a order so that they do get recorded.
Okay.
For these types of situations.
Okay.
Okay, so we have to,
What was the timing like? You said January something?
No, well, so next month's December, right? And then when do you guys open seasonally?
Like, for business,
Yeah, when would the arcade open?
March. sometime in
March.
Okay.
So that's 4 months. So if this were to move forward this year, we're just running out of time to make that happen.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
right, so we know what we're gonna look for.
Okay, so,
Move them on to our next meeting.
so we'll continue the discussion on
Give us
December
all the
13th.
background you can. I'm never going there.
Can I have a motion to continue the public hearing to December 13th?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to our 7:20 PM agenda item. It's a public hearing for Hopkins, 58 Old Low Road.
Under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Westford's non-zoning wetlands bylaw, Chapter 171, the Westford Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, November 29th, 2023, at 7:20 PM in Meeting Room 201 at Town Hall, 55 Main Street, to consider the request for determination of applicability application of Stephen Hopkins for the abandonment of an existing septic tank and leaching area and installation of a new septic tank and leach field within 100 feet of bordering vegetative wetlands at 58 Old Lowell Road.
Good evening, I'm Kevin Ritchie from Civil Solutions. I'm here on behalf of Stephen Hopkins, the owner of 58 Old Lowell Road. Mr. Hopkins currently has a failed septic system on his property. I guess, well, 58 Old Lowell is, it's almost down to Vose Hill. Couple houses below Vose. The area is served by wells, so here's his lot line here, neighbor's well is in here, his well is here. So we've got the well arcs here. It's got wetlands, basically the property's a little over 3 acres. A good portion of it is wet. So we've got a wetland here, wraps around, comes down the side. We've got the 100-foot buffer here. And then again, we've got the well arcs here. The existing septic tank is basically in the same area where we're proposing the new tank. The old leach field here. So we're proposing a new septic tank in the same spot as the existing one. And a new leach field here. Trying to stuff it up as close to the well arcs as we can get to pull it off the wetlands. We're 72 feet off the wetlands with the leaching area here, and basically we've kind of balanced it so we're 72 feet off of wetlands in all directions there. The plan has been before the Board of Health. It's been approved by the Board of Health.
So it's pre-existing and it's maximum feasible compliance.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Nothing much else they can do.
Not much else they can do, exactly.
Anything?
I have no comments.
Okay, any comments from the audience? No. Okay, can I, so is this a conditional negative or
The erosion
straight
controls are
negative?
shown on the plan. I think a negative determination. Yes.
Okay, can I have a motion for negative determination?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor? Aye.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Moving on to our 7:25 PM agenda item, a request to work after December 1st.
I'd start with Max Management LLC and 8D Donato Drive, as he is here, patiently waiting in the back. Wake up, Walter.
Okay,
Good evening. My name is Walter Erickson from Max Management. We're asking to be able to work until December 14th, to do all the grading, to backfill the foundation, and finish all our site work on 8D Donato Drive. The lot is extremely flat, sand and gravel soil site. There's no disturbance in the limit of work area. It's just in the buffer zone. And once we complete the work, probably in the next 7 to 10 days, we'll stabilize the whole area with stump grindings that we generated on site. We took all the stumps out and we ground them up, and it makes a very thick mulch. It's heavier and stringier than wood chips and bark mulch, and it works as a great erosion barrier, and we'll stabilize the rest of the lot with that.
now, what will you do with that material come springtime?
Well, it'll degrade.
Okay,
It'll decompose. It works out great. We're using on some of the slopes that are even outside the 100-foot buffer zone to stabilize some of the areas. We'll be using it, we're creating an earth berm on one of the lots, and we'll be using it to decorate the earth berm. And we've had some contractors contact us about buying some of the materials so that they can use it to stabilize some steep slopes as well.
okay. So you would just plant seed mix on top of it come springtime?
Yes.
Okay. So,
And
can,
erosion controls are in place? I
Yeah,
think,
they've been sufficiently,
Okay.
I've been out a couple times and everything looks good.
All right, thanks.
okay. Any other questions?
Nope.
Can I have a motion to approve work at 8D Donato Drive from December 1st to December 14th?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Patience.
Which one should we do next?
I'd just go back to the top and work on
Okay.
it.
Request to work after December 1st for Grace Community Church, 130 Littleton Road.
Does not appear the applicant is in attendance. In terms of, included in the commission's meeting packet was the most recent stormwater construction inspection report performed by Hughes Environmental. And perusing that, the site is stable, erosion controls are in good shape. I think there was one comment about a concrete washout, but in reviewing the plan, that's outside the commission's buffer, so, just at somewhere on site. In terms of their requests to continue working, they do have some items within most of the work is proposed outside of the buffer and wetland area. They do want to replace the culvert during the colder, hopefully less precipitation. The culvert that's connects the existing pond on site to the wetlands. And
And when we do that during the dry season, that's August, not December.
not this year.
You're right.
So, yeah, so,
It's July, August, yeah.
So, they're proposing to look to do it over the winter months. Typically, I know that in previous years, the commission has kind of approved 6-week stretches to kind of make sure that should weather conditions, site conditions change, we're not, it's not blanket approvals for the entire duration. And can certainly relay that to the project team if the commission is amenable to granting it through January 15th, or, have, kind of a 6-week reevaluation.
I would rather do that than the full, December 1st to April 1st, because again, if we break it up in pieces, we have a lot better control over it.
Okay. So can I have a motion to approve work from December 1st to January 15th, 2024 at Grace Community Church, 130 Littleton Road, DEP file number 334-1720.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And they'll let them know that they can come back
Yes.
as needed.
Yes.
Okay.
That it just, if weather conditions are not appropriate, we would look to extend it further through the winter. Okay, and then do Noise 6 and 8 Callista Terrace next?
Yep.
See this activity at the walls?
And so this was a project on Costa Terrace. They were proposing to install a significant retaining wall.
On the back.
Yeah, to the rear of the property. Only a corner of the work is actually within the buffer to a wetland area. They, per the letter, they'll are anticipating installing the new water service. The commission approved a minor modification recently, within the last couple months, and preparing for wall footings. Last time I was out, the erosion controls did appear to be in functioning correctly, and as with the last one, if the commission wants to consider approval for 6 weeks, through.
With extensions as needed?
Cool.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve work at 6 Callista Terrace from December 1st to January 15th, 2024?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and then 124 and 128 Main Street?
This is the Hicks property at, the former Hicks property. This was the parcel that contains the original house and proposed new townhouse portion. The rear of the rear of the parcel is within buffer to a bordering vegetated wetland, and is also in riverfront area. As the developer is requesting, they're requesting to loam and seed and stabilize I think stabilization at this point is likely going to be physical as opposed to biological. I don't know how much germination you're going to get with 27-degree temperatures, but whether it's jute netting or some physical barrier, it's my.
How about we put that in the,
Oh, I can certainly, you know, and again, you know, even in the, you know, my email that I shot
I
out
just don't want
to.
them giving it a try to see what happens if we plant seed.
Right, yeah, no, I mean, you know, and again,
Go
you
right
know,
to the physical barrier.
in the email, you know, it's any disturbed ground within jurisdictional areas not stabilized with vegetated cover, you know, shall be stabilized with physical controls, erosion controls, blankets, jute netting, straw mulch. So, you know, they are aware, and, you know, I can certainly remind them in, if the commission approves work through the end of the month, or end of December.
Why don't we just go right to saying, put in the physical
That's-
barrier?
No, again, you know, the December, you know,
I know
in
it
my
was-
email, it says, you know, per the order of conditions, you know, not satisfactorily stabilized. So
Right.
if they're putting in loam, it's not satisfactorily stabilized. So,
Okay.
you know, it's,
And when I was going to ask for the motion, I was going the exact same place you were. So can I have a motion to approve work between December 1st and December 31st, as outlined in Matt's email to the applicant, at 124 and 128 Main Street?
So moved.
Second.
You want it a little bit,
I'm not sure what that does.
okay,
'Cause, I mean, he's talking about seeding there.
no, so in Matt's email where Matt says, any ground disturbed within jurisdiction areas should have been stabilized with vegetative covers. If areas are not satisfactorily stabilized, they shall be stabilized during the winter months using erosion control blankets, jute netting, and/or straw mulch.
All right, I'd be happier if we were just saying, do the stabilization with jute netting, straw mulch, you know,
So,
whatever.
okay.
Leave out the other.
Seed in December,
So, okay, so what you're,
it's not gonna grow.
if I understand you correctly, we're looking for a motion to allow the applicant to stabilize areas within stabilize unvegetated covered areas within jurisdictional areas with erosion control blankets, jute knitting, and/or straw mulch.
Yes, yes, and
The
yes.
work to be performed between December 1st and December 31st.
That's perfect.
Okay.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Got that?
I apologize to the minutes taker for
Well,
that motion. That's gonna be.
I just don't want to give him the opportunity to do the seeding, and then we wait it 3 months, and it's all rutted and gutted, and then they say, oh, the seeding didn't work, now we have to go to something else. It's too late by then.
Okay. So moving on to 7:30 PM agenda item, continued public hearing for 0 and 210 Littleton Road.
They're requesting the public hearing be continued till the commission's next meeting on December 13th.
Can I have a motion to continue the public hearing to December 13th?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and then the continuation of the public hearing for 89 Old Lowell Road.
The project team is requesting continuance of that discussion till the commission's January 10th, 2024 meeting.
Can I have a motion to continue the public hearing to January 10th, 2024?
Moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving on to discussion items. Okay, so the Stony Brook Conservation Area user concern follow-up.
That's, in discussing with the finance director, he has advised that funding for part-time seasonal attendance at Stony Brook Conservation Area on the weekends could be funded through the commission's EBC revolving account, which we use a portion of to pay the facilities manager and other expenses not otherwise appropriated in the operating budget. He recommended that. We have over $110,000 currently and budgeting approximately $7,000.
How much did you say you have it?
approximately 110,000.
Oh, you have enough. Okay.
So this is, funds received and a mechanism to kind of try out, yeah, right, to try it out, especially with the financial situation of the town, as opposed to including it in an operating budget, which could likely be
Defeated.
not supported by the parties that review budgets. So, as a means to implementing this in the upcoming next summer, I think this is certainly a good way to go about it. Logistics, I've discussed the kind of the logistics of it this afternoon with the recreation director as they staff the Edwards Beach and Forge Beach, and looking for some synergy between staffing and using their experiences to not recreate the wheel for us.
So if they have a model that works for those beaches, it might
We'll
be
try
something
it.
that we could, for the monitoring of the beaches only, a model that we could adopt
Yeah.
for the day beach.
All I've seen from them, I mean, what I was just observing what their model is they hire a bunch of teenagers to check IDs and, people are Westford residents coming in, and that they man the snack bar. That's really it. What we're looking for is rules enforcement. What I'm looking for is rules
Right.
enforcement.
Rules enforcement is going to require somebody being paid more than $17.50 an hour.
Absolutely, yes.
So.
I think what we can do is.
So I think, to the point of, I think having people regularly there, on the weekends during the most active times.
On warm,
and
sunny
B,
summer weekends, yeah.
Notify, and having non-Westford residents have to, to pay the same amount that you would have to pay to go to Edwards Beach, for example. I personally would go to Edwards Beach as opposed to trying to, as opposed to having to carry a cooler and carry carry the things with which you would go take to the beach a half mile to, or I could park at Edwards Beach and pay the same, I think having regular a regular attendant there, and also just, and implementing, potentially implementing a $5, fee for non-Westford residents. I think that achieves, I think that could achieve the commission's goals of ensuring more compliance with the rules and regulations, than, hiring, somebody for potentially more a more expensive position to enforce rules. But that's my opinion.
Well, if we charge somebody out of town, we'd have to have somebody at the Stony Brook School, then at where the
Right,
water
but
department
I mean, but
is,
it-
at the
but-
main
Well,
place.
no, because this is
Yeah.
only for the beach. This is not for the entire property.
So where would they,
That's part of what,
Right, so the logistics, are they being are they sitting at, is there a sandwich board at the main access gate notifying somebody that 250 yards ahead, there's gonna be somebody, collecting a,
non-resident fee.
yeah, to use the beach.
not just walking.
Right, no,
Right.
and again, also, if they do decide to go up the girls, the access road to the girls' side and then up and over and down, it's not that far for the two, attendees to go, and whether it's, you give out orange wristband, the orange paper wristbands or
We're
something.
gonna find those all over the place.
I mean, there's no, or sticky, give them a stamp or something,
yeah.
Something so that there
They
is.
waterproof.
But then you have folks there just collecting money too, and that can be difficult, because then you're having somebody come up and you're saying somebody, okay, you've got to.
Again, they do it at these other properties. So
Okay.
again,
We can
whether-
follow that model and see if we have issues.
Yeah,
We can't shoot it down before we try it.
yeah.
I'd like to just to throw into the mix another option. I don't think we need people there every day or every weekend or all summer. I think we can pick and choose the weekend days we need based on the weather forecast on Wednesday or Thursday. If it's going to be 90 degrees and sunny, bingo, we need somebody in there. And I think, given how many weekends there are between Memorial Day and Labor Day,
15.
and how many of them are gonna be sunny and warm, hot and warm and sunny. I think we can afford Westford Police, Westford's finest,
I don't know.
for some of those days.
They get paid.
Don't have to be
I mean,
everyone.
but
They get
the
paid
problem
they
depending
do.
on what rank they are. not-
They get paid a lot,
The
yes.
problem
I
with
think
a
they're
police
paid more
detail
than we want
is
to.
it's a volunteer,
Yep.
somebody has to.
Sign up for it.
Sign up for it.
Yep.
So there very well could be, a 90-degree day with which we are hey, we really need somebody, and all the off-duty officer, all the off-duty
They're on-
staff with which would do it,
on Main
also say,
Street or something.
well, I don't want to be sitting there, for 4 hours,
Well, no,
it's a
We would
4 hour.
need someone like on call for nice days. or
Well,
nice
but
weekends.
that's the other thing, is if we're trying to hire somebody, are we going to have applicants if we say, oh, we will tell you
Right.
a day or two in advance whether
Right.
we need you
Whether
this
you're working
weekend or
or
not?
Nobody.
Right.
So I think some of this is where we need to think through, that says, what do we want to do how do we want to structure our first year's,
And there may be some trial and error.
yeah,
because
that
we've not
we
done
may
this
find,
before.
if charging a fee, all of a sudden, there's gonna be more people decide that Edwards Beach and Forge Beach look really nice to them. We don't know what's gonna happen with the change that we implement.
In the past, we've had people drinking, boozing it up on the beaches, and I'm not comfortable having teenage kids running, collect $5 from anybody on the entranceway road,
Or telling them they can't
or
drink
telling them
there.
you can't bring in the booze, or you
I mean,
can't.
and that's why,
have
but
kids,
there's somebody who's actively, there's a live body there who, if they observe it,
Can make a phone call.
call the police,
So
The
they
pl- you know-
won't be responsible for telling the person you can't bring alcohol in. That's
Right,
when they
so-
make a phone
So as they
call.
collect, the $5, they say,
Who is that?
here's,
That's the people we hire would
We have to
would
work
call
this
the
out, Jim.
police.
We haven't worked it out yet.
Yeah, I mean, these are.
I mean, or we just go back to, we get the residents, come July, we get the emails from residents complaining about.
We should. I mean, that's
Right,
abuse of the
but if we're
property.
trying to do something about it, I feel like there are options with which we can explore, we can, try, so that, I'm not getting.
Like a pilot program.
Right, and if this works, great, again, if there are people who still want to go and pay $5 because they want to go sit at that beach, fine. But, if that curtails the people who are not, observing every sign, putting up more signs, hasn't
More
been.
signs.
Exactly.
Doesn't work, yeah.
Right,
No.
so putting up more signs, okay, that's not an effective measure to achieve change.
Correct.
So let's start with, a couple warm bodies there to, make sure, and hey, as I'm, interacting with you, oh, you are a Westford resident, please make sure you don't, alcohol is prohibited. Turn around, if that's in your cooler.
We don't hire children to do this. We hire a grown-up, someone 21.
Do it.
There you go.
Well,
What did you say?
I said, I'll do it.
There you go.
is that a conflict of
Extra
interest?
income.
I was gonna say, I'm like, am I allowed to be hired by the Conservation
course you are.
Commission if I'm a member?
Well,
But that's just me,
pays.
I'm not a lawyer.
Get stuck on this.
The
We're definitely
volunteer.
gonna do something.
That's where we're at with this,
Definitely gonna
and
try to do
certainly-
something.
Yeah, so.
Which is
so-
I
more
mean,
than we
I will
did.
try to work out a sheet of logistics and, so that it's not, so this can be provided to whomever is, included in
Paying them an hour?
$17.50.
So how many hours a day are the people at Forge and Edwards?
I think 7. I think they do 11 to 6,
11 to 6?
10 to 6, 10 to
Okay.
5, something like
I
that.
think they close up at 5, I think.
Yeah, so maybe 10 to 5, 11 to 5, something like that.
But I don't know
Okay.
when they start, yeah.
So, okay.
It's early.
They got one team in a chair checking everybody coming in the gate, and then they got, I think,
Not if
two,
you're walking.
and they got two in the,
Oh, really?
Yeah,
two in the snack bar building, I think.
yeah.
So
too.
I think it's 3.
Okay. So, we're coming up with a plan.
Something.
But it
And
won't
we
be
have a funding
tonight.
Mechanism.
Yes, there's
Yes.
funding, there's a funding mechanism,
There's
there's a
funding.
concept wheel. Edwards Woods, I do not have an update now. I'm working on moving it forward.
There are many, many truckloads of new material. and
There are
then,
truckloads?
Oh, yeah,
Ah.
leaves, just like,
Ah,
I
Is-
can't hear you, say
is-
what?
Is the season.
Truckloads of leaves.
yeah. And
That
brush.
people are
So it's
dumping?
continuing to be used as a dumping
So then,
ground.
Oh,
you
it's
know,
been used
when
that
I
way for
drive my
decades.
car, I watch people cross from one side of the road over to another and just throw the, I just watch it as I
Oh,
drive
yeah.
to, come to work.
they do it in our yard, they just.
It's crazy.
There was a,
I can't imagine doing that.
I wanted to follow up on that message I sent you about, there was a gentleman on Lakeshore Drive South taking leaves from his yard and going across the street and dumping them down the hill towards the water in his neighbor's yard.
I would be afraid to
Oh, I
say.
have a video of it.
What?
I took a video of it.
Oh, that's different
Yeah.
than, engaging the guy.
I
I'd
didn't
be
remember
leery,
saying
no.
it.
If you send me the address, I can certainly send a
On the
friendly,
store?
I'll send a letter first to just let them know that a,
I've seen you.
right, yeah. You know, if we know where they're originating from, you know, a letter, I can certainly send that.
Was there an update from the Westford Police Department about the leaves?
have not.
No. Okay.
Not received anything.
Next.
The discontinued road between Providence Road and Kersey Circle.
Letters were out. I've heard back from a couple of residents and waiting to hear back from a couple more, and we need to at least hear back from enough to create a contiguous path within the abandoned road to,
So have all responses so far been positive?
yes. I've had favorable responses.
Well, that's good.
And, yes, and last meeting, you gave us the update from, Mr. Adams.
Yes, and the party looking to grant easement, sell a portion of the property to connect from the abandoned old road, they're still interested in pursuing that, so.
So the Adams is still interested in giving us an easement across their
yes,
property as well?
easement or, yeah, again.
Whatever it turns out.
Some mechanism for public access.
Okay. Summer Village Conservation Restriction Amendment.
You use the word giving. Is it giving, selling, or we don't know?
Acquiring.
Okay, acquiring for money or for good?
It would likely be for funds, for money.
what?
For money.
That's what I thought, okay,
From the, okay.
okay.
I have no update regarding the Summer Village CR amendment.
Okay.
Freedom Park.
Freedom Park improvements.
I provided this yesterday afternoon, kind of to detail the elements of the plan from the mid-2000s, and to, get to a end state close to that. There were some, and identified, party to potentially, whether it's install boulders, asking for DPW assistance with that, the parking barrier that's angled, same thing with the boards, and, Noel, if you have,
Thinking about 3 or 4 of these items the scouts could do,
yeah, okay, yeah, and I can certainly
Yeah.
connect with you and,
especially if you pay them for their supplies.
Right, yeah, right, again, and that was kind of my column of requires funding was, requires more funding than potentially has been appropriated, as opposed to, buying a couple boards and,
There was one piece of fence, it was like a picket fence that's fallen down.
Yeah,
Whose property is that on, and whose fence is it?
that's a good question.
We need to find
Right, I
out.
mean, in considering that there is a chain link fence existing on, I don't imagine the town would have installed a chain link fence and then a stockade fence as well.
Right.
But I can certainly reach out to the abutters. I mean, if we are going to start doing work, activity there regarding, fences or things like that, I would certainly like to, pursue it more in with a smile and a handshake, than, having to hire a surveyor or something to that effect, just to, because that's funds that could be directed
So we know
elsewhere.
whose property the fence is on.
Right, whereas if we can amenably, come to Oh, yeah, no, we're okay with that. We, you know,
It's just one piece of that.
yeah.
The
that
rest is chain link
stockade,
that has
yeah.
to be fixed. Yeah.
Yep.
So, do you want me to put you in touch with the scoutmaster?
Yeah, I can, I'll reach out and, you know, to you, and you can forward mine for, you know, if you want to do introductions, that's certainly fine. and we
Copy
can-
both of you on that. Okay.
Now, would installing native plantings in the spring be something scouts would do as well, or they prefer the carpentry style tasks?
Well, they have a gardening merit bench, so that could fit in well.
Okay.
We can ask them.
Yeah, right, you know, here's what we have identified, and I don't,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
think installing boulders and, you know, heavy machinery is consistent with, you know, scouts,
Scouts might enjoy them.
You could place an order for the native plants to be able to be picked up at a local nursery by the scouts. That would work well.
Yeah.
All paid for ahead of time. They just do some digging and planting.
Okay. Okay, so, Noel, you'll reach out, you'll connect Matt and myself with the
Right,
Scoutmaster.
sure.
We'll see what we can get, moving forward that way.
Yep.
Okay, sounds good. Where are we?
Enforcement order for,
Enforcement order for Spalding Hill.
Since the commission's last meeting, have received updates from the project engineer, the site contractor, and also just today I received an update from the environmental consultant, Mr. Smyers with Oxbow Associates, which I'll include in the commission's next. They've done the work at the sand trap east of the commercial properties. I forget.
Still across Garten Road.
Yeah, on the south side of Groton Road, as shown in the pictures. They're still waiting for the northern area to dry out a little bit before going in there to remove the transported soils. And with regards to the vernal pool, they did make note that the turbidity is less than previously, and they're still looking to evaluate how to do anything in that without further disturbing, you know, the certified vernal pool. So, have today's update in the commission's next meeting packet.
Okay. Order of conditions compliance for 31 Bridge Street.
First, if the commission could ratify the enforcement order issued November 9th. This was at the direction of the commission at their meeting on the 8th.
Okay, can I have a motion to ratify the enforcement order issued on November 9th, 2023?
Given that that enforcement order was documented in our minutes that we have coming up, I had some comments on the minutes that it didn't seem to emphasize the condition number, you know, the order of conditions specifically that was being violated, and the due date, which was a time that expired with no response on October 24th. That information was not in our minutes, and I think that type of data, I think, has to go into the enforcement order. I haven't seen, does the enforcement order tell them that it's condition number 26? And that it was due on October 24th? If it has those two facts in it.
How about on October 25th, 2023, Matthew Salem Conservation emailed Mr. Franklin notifying that 2 months from the date of issuance of the order of conditions was October 24th, 2023, and that no list for review had been provided. Additionally, the email advised that the commission may seek enforcement for a failure to comply with the issued order of conditions. On November 8th, 2023, during the Westford Conservation Commission's regularly scheduled public meeting, Mr. Salem provided an update to the commission about the status of the compliance of this special condition. The commission expressed their displeasure at the failure to comply and unanimously voted to support issuing the enforcement order and start assessing fines of $50 per day until compliance has been achieved. The commission reserved the right to increase the amount until compliance is achieved. The failure to provide the required document within the stated time frame for the commission's review and approval violated Mass DEP file number 334-1783, special condition number 26, as the list of permitted and prohibited items to be stored in the metal storage boxes had not been provided. Further up, I explicitly,
So this, you're reading from the enforcement order?
yes.
Okay, I heard the condition number and the date. Good.
Okay,
Okay.
And I include the entire special condition further up, the enforcement order, in the findings of said enforcement order.
okay.
Have you heard back from him?
I did, so
Let's-
first
We're gonna
ratify.
ratify, and then we're gonna,
He probably didn't get a copy because he came in late.
no, okay. So, can I have a motion to issue, to ratify the emergency order issued November 9th, 2023?
Enforcement order.
Enforcement order. All those in favor? Aye. Okay, now, moving on to the compliance and that list that we've been looking for. That's
So this morning I received, so in the commission's meeting packet, I did include an email from the property owner stating that they would have a list to me by Monday, 11/27. I received the list as physically provided to you today. That is the black text. The red text is my my revisions for the commission's thoughts and can follow up with the property owner. I'm open to additions, corrections, language changes.
I think this is good.
Well, so it says limited materials stored in floodplain. Is this, do we want to use the word stored in the floodplain or stored in the, stored
Metal
in the
stored.
storage containers?
Located within the floodplain.
Yeah,
Okay, no, I think that's,
okay. Okay, yeah, because,
Yeah, I know, you just don't want to have any, you know,
Any loophole.
miscommunication. Well, you said I could store it.
yeah. Yeah, because if it's in a building, is it, yeah.
Yeah,
But yes.
yeah.
And that was a lot of what we got into with the no, you know, when you look at a,
Jim?
but when you know, he talks about no pesticides, and it's like, well, what about herbicides, what about fertilizers? And then Matt was thinking, well, what about chemicals if something's a, you know, a cleaning company or whatever?
or a pool company,
Or
something, you know.
pool company.
You know, it's now things that, you know, we wouldn't allow a resident to, you know, put pool chemicals in their, you know, in a shed,
In the buffer.
Yeah, in the buffer, so.
Or something, yeah.
Right, you know, and, you know, and again, biodegradable oil, I don't know, I had this crazy idea about, you know, some biodiesel company, like, you know, having 2,000-gallon totes in there and collecting until
Waste
it.
oil.
Yeah,
Or
waste oil,
collecting
you know,
old-
waste fryolator oil, I don't know.
I think this is
Could,
good.
you never know.
Right,
There's
and so
probably a
that
bunch
was,
of things that we're gonna have to, we'll maybe
Right,
adding in the
that we-
future, yeah.
Yeah,
It's a good beginning.
How about
Yes.
how about in general hazardous materials?
Yeah, but that's open.
I guess
to
it's
dis-
covered on the chemicals, right?
yeah, I mean, I can certainly add in hazardous, I mean, again, we just, you know, discussing with the chair, you know, I had, well, anything with an MSDS sheet, you know, and I'm like, water has an MSDS sheet.
So-
You know, I was like, yeah, I'm like, yeah, well, that's a little
In our
too broad.
various site visits, the nasties that we have identified and seen are petroleum oils, gasoline, kerosene, lubricating oils, fuel, those kind of things. So, so I think
What
this,
about sorry.
go ahead, I think this covers them.
What about machinery that has that stuff in it, like, you know, lawnmowers, chainsaws, stuff like that, that,
I
like,
think
oh,
it's-
well, it's, you know, it has
I think
gas,
they
it
actually
has
store
oil.
that stuff. You know, contractors store that, right?
because we have said permitted items are tools, and
Yeah.
does a chainsaw qualify as a tool?
Power tool.
I mean,
I mean-
the volume of it is, I would defer back to the volume, you know.
Yeah, is
Yeah.
it considered de minimis?
Right, I mean, if not this site, but if somebody had, you know, a lawnmower that leaked gas or some, you know, something like that, or, you know,
Inside a structure.
or just somebody's car, you know, there's a detached garage or, you know, a, tent garage type shelter thing, and somebody has a diesel truck and the diesel fuel leaks, you know, there's, you know, what, if they're reporting
The reporting requirement is, yeah.
5 gallons.
You have
in
to,
one
yeah.
day. I mean, it's surprisingly low, but at the same time, it's not, you know,
It's a
not what
lot
would-
more than you'd find in a lawnmower or another power tool that was running off of kerosene or gasoline or what have you.
Right, so that's, I think that's kind of de minimis to it, but again, if the commission's, you know, in terms of,
I think this
I
is
thought we were worried about storage of gasoline containers and other containers and drums and things of that nature versus, you know, gasoline used to power something that's already in it.
Well, and actually, listening to all this, it's no petroleum products. What about a container that had been used to store petroleum products, but it's de minimis, there may be residue in there? Is that something we'd worry about?
Did you find any like that?
again, I hadn't, I've only gone since the enforcement order was issued and the site was, you know, cleaned up. I don't recall what was in the original.
Jim, when did we first go there?
2022,
ago?
no, 2020,
A long
May
time
of
ago.
2020.
Yeah.
And the stuff we were seeing that were problematic were like hydraulic fluid, kerosene,
3 years
gasoline,
ago we
and
were
oil.
there?
That was pretty
And
much it.
almost 4 years ago.
I think this covers it.
I do
Okay.
too. I think this is a good start.
Yeah, I'm good with
And
this.
if we
I
find
think-
something that doesn't belong, we'll add it to the list.
And I can certainly add some other line of, you know, and
Any
if,
other items?
you know, and if you need clarification, contact,
Yes,
you know,
right.
Yeah.
contact the,
That's a good
contact the.
Contact Matt, yeah.
Another thing we should probably do is put this in a tickler file every 6 months or something like that, and go
Check.
back and visit. And say, you open up these boxes, I wanna make sure that there's,
Maybe
to make
twice
sure
So
that
is
there's-
there-
I mean, so, again, the first
But this
stage
looks
is, you know, here's what, you know, the tenants, the current tenants will get to, you know, for them to sign, execute.
Are they required, is Chris required to give us a copy of the
Yes.
signed forms? Okay.
Within 10 days of, so, step one was provide this to the commission for the commission's review, and, okay, here's what we like, this is, you know, going forward. Within a month, you know, within the next month, he needs, you know, of the commission saying, yes, this is what we want in the, you know, this letter, this form, this, whatever. He needs to, you know, get the existing tenants to sign and execute too.
Then we get the copy.
Within 10 days, a copy is to be provided to town staff, to, you know, so that we do have, okay, here's the tenants here, and then as new tenants, you know, come in, this is included in, you know,
So you know how many
paperwork.
trailers are there now?
Well, that's in the existing conditions, yeah, so the plan has, you know, the documents what the existing extent is.
So I
Look
think
like
this-
you're thinking
Yep.
something.
I think
So
that's a
what
good
I started
start.
out with is that I think this should go into a tickler file, and in 3 months, 5 months, whatever, we should make another visit back and inspect what's in these containers.
I can certainly, I'm sure there's language within the order, but.
Because otherwise, you know, what good is it if there's no checking to make sure
Right.
that they're
Can-
following it? You know, we
And-
tell them to put in erosion control barriers, and then you actually go and you look at them. We're telling them, you can't have these materials in these buffer zone boxes, we gotta look at it. to
And you
ensure.
might warn him that that's gonna happen.
Yeah, no,
So I think it would also help,
again,
This is 20 days late from when we gave him his warning, so I think we have to go back and cover the issue of the fines, too.
right.
Okay, well-
He was told,
So are we clear that Matt can send him
Yes.
the
I would
form
like-
as
I
we've
would like to
revised
just
it?
add one line about, you know, if there are questions regarding
Yes.
something,
if you have any
contact.
doubts about
Yeah.
what's not allowed or is allowed,
At any time,
contact you.
okay?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So he knows it's
no,
an
during
open.
normal business hours.
Well,
I mean, they
I
can
didn't mean,
contact
I
me
didn't mean
anytime on his phone
anytime
during
that way.
normal
You're
business
right, I
hours.
didn't mean that.
Okay, so, yeah, okay, so,
That's an understood.
yeah, okay, so additional, yes, so that'll additional piece. So can I have a motion to approve the revised,
Conditions?
the revised checklist, the revised form, the form as revised?
So moved.
All's in favor?
Aye.
All right, okay, and then there was a question of fines.
Yes. We had our meeting on the 8th. You informed him on the 9th that he was overdue on it, and it was due on October 24th. and you got it on the 29th, so that's 20 days that he was late from when he got extra, he actually got extra time and extra warning, because it really should have started on the 24th of October. But I would say we started on the 9th of October when he was reminded, the day after, of November, that's the day after our meeting, through the 29th of November, which is when this was received in the Conservation Department. So that's 20 days at $50 a day, right?
Yes.
How do we do that?
Does the
Are you saying
commission?
you want to find him a grant?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so can I have a motion to issue a fine of $1,000 covering 20 days of non-compliant, is non-compliance the right word?
Yeah,
Failure to comply.
Failure to comply at $50 a day.
so moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Minutes for November 8th.
That's good.
Okay.
And who made the motion and second on the,
I made the
for the,
motion.
for the
I second.
fine?
I seconded
I
it.
made the motion.
Motion, second, okay.
Yes.
As long as somebody does, I don't care.
That's why we record this, right?
Yeah. So did anybody have comments on the minutes? Jim?
On page 4, bottom of the page, the last bullet is the order of compliance that we just discussed. I think we got to add in there that the order of conditions set a due date for condition 26 of 2 months after it was issued, which would have made the due date October 24th, 2023.
So where in here,
Anywhere in there, anywhere in that last paragraph. Because we do mention that it's condition 26.
How about,
We do say the fine per day.
so that was the, so in
This
terms of
Sort of sets the initial date for when.
so the first sentence of that section, as of the meeting, no response has been received from the owner
so
to
as of,
Salem's outreach, which notified that,
Oh, which triggered,
so as of the November 8th meeting? Does
Yeah,
that give
right.
you the date you want? Or are you looking for something that
Well, the
ties it to the
condition-
October
I
24th?
want to indicate, given that we're charging him essentially, or enforcing this condition 26, the order of conditions established a timeline for when 26 had to be accomplished, which was 2 months after the order of conditions was issued, which became October 24th, 2023. So the response to condition 26 was due 10/24/23 and was not received.
has been received from the owner to Salem's outreach, which notified that the date of compliance for special condition 26 was October 24th, 2023. Okay,
Okay.
here, I will just make a star and listen to this later.
That was my only comment I had.
I did have a comment on the bullet before that about 90 Kingsborough Road, because it talks about, Matt Salem recommended that to the selling attorney that the new owner install no dumping signs at the property. The next sentence says, he is not concerned about the future dumping by the proposed insurance company, and I kind of said, well, maybe it makes more sense. He is concerned about future dumping by the general public, not the property owner. Yeah, just so that it's,
Yeah.
yeah. Any more? Can I have a motion to approve the minutes for November 8th, 2023 as amended?
so moved.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any other business?
I do not.
Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.